at VBNA to present the floral welcome to Mr. Pilot, please. So we have some formalities on the stage to complete before I make him speak. So I'll now request Mr. Anuj Kothari, editor of Indore Manager, and the Indore Manager editorial team on the stage, please, to unveil the commemorative volume of the Indore Manager. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. It's just so open. Can you have one more? Yes. Thank you, Mr. Kothari. Thank you, the editorial team. Thank you very much. Just the last minute filler. We have the AV filler, which depicts the Hope to Triumph trilogy, and this is the second amongst them. Can we now have the AV of the Hope to Triumph trilogy, please?
On 6 August 1945, during World War II, a B-29 bomber dropped the world's first atomic bomb on Hiroshima, and 3 days later, another one on Nagasaki, instantly killing 180,000 people and around 100,000 more in the aftermath. On 15th August, Japan declared its defeat. 2 cities were completely destroyed. A whole generation was lost, but hope wasn't. Japan didn't give up. In 1952, after years of submission to the Allied forces, Japan was on its own with the signing of a peace treaty. Inspired by a slew of leaders, Japan's economy flourished. Industrialization gathered momentum. Infrastructure development took place. The standard of living soared. The common man became affluent. A feat that was the result of brave determination in the face of adversities. In 1973, the world oil crisis shocked the Japanese economy, which was heavily dependent on oil. With sharp foresight, barely a few decades after the destruction, Hiroshima became a city that boasted 27% of the world's automobile industry. But more troubles were heading Japan's way. On the 11th of March 2011, Japan was hit by an earthquake of 8.9 magnitude on the Richter scale, followed by a tsunami which hit a 2,100-kilometer coastline. 24,000 casualties. Airports, cities, and villages completely washed away. Over 100,000 people fled their homes, fearing a nuclear fallout, as the nuclear reactor in Fukushima faced extensive damage. Yet, Japan never lost hope. Around 22 Japanese scientists
Thank you. Without further ado, may I now request Mr. Sachin Pilot to please speak to the audience, please. Thank you.
A very good afternoon to all of you, ladies and gentlemen and young friends. Before I accepted the invite to come and speak here today, I wanted to know what it is that the event will focus on and the topic of the discussion. I was very glad to learn that the topic is one that will make all of us think and ponder, not just about ourselves, but about our country and our society. So I will do the following. I don't have a prepared speech, but I do want to speak about a lot of things that I don't usually do on the political platforms or on the other arenas that I'm usually talking in. The world as we see today is not what it was even 10 years ago. And to be honest with you, the kinds of turbulences, the kind of upheaval, economic, political, that is happening all around us, whether it's our neighborhood or further across our political borders, is something that needs to be very well processed in our own thinking here in this country as political leaders, as corporate citizens, as individuals, as industrialists, as young people. And India's position in the globe today, India's position as a prominent country in the world community is pretty much well established. So I don't want to spend time in harping about the country and its progress and where we are and where we ought to go. I thought I'll focus a bit upon the thought leadership, the political leadership, and the kinds of geopolitical circumstances that we as a nation are now living with. 40, 50 years ago, in the 50s and 60s, in 52 in fact, when we had our first general election, the whole world, especially the Western world, was very skeptical about India actually conducting an election, so many tens of millions, hundreds of millions of people having democracy as a form of government, having members of parliament, having a functional parliament, hungry people, illiterate people. Democracy was for the educated, for the elite, for people who had civility, who had mannerisms. But over the last 4.5, 5 decades, we have consistently, every 5 years, proved to the world that our form of government, our democracy, the way we have actually inculcated the sense of ownership and stakeholdership in every single citizen of the 1.2 billion population that we have today, that we are a functional, though I must add, a very noisy democracy. The Indian parliament today consists of more than 40 political parties. Coalition politics is here to stay, at least for the medium term. Because I belong to the Congress party, I hope in the long run we may have a single party rule. But for the time being, we have a coalition political setup in our governments. The move ahead started, I think, quite dramatically in the early 90s. And no nation in the world has marked its presence without being strong economically, without being strong politically. But the strength must come